scrappy people, Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a layout using my brand new free collection called Tempest. If you watched the unboxing video for Tempest or checked it out the last couple days, you will know that Tempest it's an angsty emo collection. And when I was thinking about what I wanted to scrapbook with this angsty emo collection, we of course all have bad days. We all have things that don't go right. I don't often take photos during those times, but the biggest thing right now that is angsty and horrible about our lives is the unprecedented onslaught of hateful legislation coming out of red states right now, that's trying to criminalize the existence, the marriages, the free expression of my friends, my family, my children, my nephews, everything. Everyone I love basically is affected by all this hateful legislation. And I think that that is a pretty big deal right now for us. So I have a bunch of screenshots of just horrific headlines that are really affecting us right now. And I'm gonna do a scrap therapy page about my feelings about what's going on and hopefully get out some of my own angst so that I can collect myself and keep fighting the fight to defend my children, to defend my best friends, to defend my loved ones, to defend all of us. So if this is not the topic for you, feel free to bug out now. You don't have to watch this, but it is a huge deal in our lives, and so I'm going to be scrapbooking about it. So here we go. So this layout ended up being super cathartic. I didn't plan it when I made this collection with the rainbows, but it really fits with the theme of this collection really well. So of course I went all in on the rainbows and decided to go with the journal card that has the Rachel Green quote, just because it really felt, this whole layout was about catharsis, right? So it just felt like I wanted to go with the angry part of my feels about this. I also really liked the Who Rained on My Parade with this theme, obviously for, like pride parades. It all went really well together. So I feel like maybe I was channeling that a little bit in the back of my brain when I was designing the angsty portion of this collection. So this layout comes out, it's not like the most well-designed layout in history, but it serves its purpose, and it has like this, it feels like the headlines are like this never-ending onslaught of hate to me. And so this collage style barrage, almost like you're scrolling your screen and you're just coming up after article after article after article that are just awful. That's kind of what I was channeling when I was creating this collage along the edge of the page. So I thought that that worked really well. It's not the most eye-pleasing design in the world, but it just really captures the emotion for me. So I thought it worked really well. I wanted to make sure that, I didn't want necessarily the people in the photos' faces on my layout. I didn't want to detract that, but I did want like the flags that were important and the headlines that were important to be seen. So I'm just kind of making sure that everything is showing that needs to be showing. I'm sorry, Leslie Jones, for cutting off your whole body, but you didn't fit. I just needed your headline. So I'm going to use embellishments to cover up some of the other faces on the page as well, because, they're not my family. I also decided that that cardboard edge was necessary to sort of pull the white photos away from the white background and give it a nice hard edge. And now I'm going to distress this card, and I'm actually going to create a bit of a layered effect on my page. And instead of, using a cardstock hinge to make it fold out, I'm actually going to use a brad so that you can see that there is this card underneath the top card. You can see that there's journaling on it, but you can't necessarily read it until you move the card. Plus, I just like the way that the brads make the cards wiggle around. I'm just gonna use my X-Acto knife to punch a hole because I'm being super lazy. I was really in the scrap therapy portion of this page and I didn't want to find my awl. And then I'm going to repeat the process again with this other tag over here, and I'm going to pin that one down with a brad as well, just punching straight through, going crazy. And I want to distress it too because we're all distressed here, so all of our tags are going to be distressed as well. So I'm going to just put this down here, and then I'm going to start building my layout around this composition. I will say it was sort of a double-edged sword because obviously I have a lot of space taken up here, so it makes it easy, but it also makes it hard because I'm trying to work around all of these headlines so that none of them are covered up. And also the mixed media on the left-hand side, I don't really want to detract from that too. I spent a lot of time designing these papers, so I want to go with the mixed media and work with the background paper rather than cover it up. I really wanted to use this word art that says it feels like a throat punchy kind of day, but there really was no place for it with all of this going on the layout. So I put it there for a little while and then I end up taking it off. I'm going to pop up some of these bits on foam dots so that there's a little bit more height on this page, a little bit more going on. I don't really want to use too much in addition to the Tempest collection, so in order to get some depth and dimension, I'm just going to pop some stuff up off of the page and that'll give it a little bit of height and a little bit more to look at. So I'm also going to like I said, I'm going to work with the background paper on the right hand or the left hand side. So I'm going to take this Feeling Blue label bit and I'm going to put it in the like this polka dot stripe that we've got going on the left hand side, working with the composition. And I want to do this rainbow too, so this needs to come back up because I'm going to put it right underneath that feeling. And I like that like jaunty angle that it gives everything, especially since the journaling card moves and, you know, sits at an angle by itself mostly. So I'm gonna try and do some more on an angle on the left hand side, but you know, I'm just going back and forth because I don't really work linearly. I think that's a word. I work back and forth. So while I let that thoughts sit in my brain, I work on the other side of the page, and then I'll come back and I'll know what I want to do on the left hand side. So of course I wanted to incorporate another one of these rainbows. There's rainbows in the background, but they're so covered up that I want to make sure that we have more going on here. And I really like the concept. The reason the rainbows have clouds over them from the collection is because, you know, it's a moody collection, not a happy collection. So like the whole concept of the cloud covering up your rainbow just kind of worked with that whole concept, so I like it. I'm going to add a very long title that says "We are under attack." It fits perfectly along the edge of that scallop, and it's a great place to add a title because it's vertical, so it doesn't really conflict too much with all of the words that I have going horizontally across the page. And then I'm going to add another one of these rainbows up here to anchor this word bit, again on an angle, trimming this down because I want them to be nice and thin, just so they take up a little bit less room on that beautiful background page. And this one says deep breaths. Gotta keep reminding myself that if you freak out, you can't help. So I need to move this whole thing down now that the composition has changed slightly. It's not that big of a deal. The hole that I made just kind of closes itself back up, and it's kind of still underneath the card, so no big deal. I'm trying to distress the photos themselves, but the paper doesn't really lend itself too much to distressing. I do get a little bit done, but not as much as I would have liked. If I'd thought in advance, I might have matted some of these. So instead of trying to distress the sides, I'm going to tear them and staple them kind of like I did on the journaling card on the left-hand side. And that'll give me a little bit of distressing without fighting with that tool that will not distress effectively. I want to make sure that my tears are balanced, so I'm trying to figure out where to put the last one. And I like breaking up that blue a little bit. Then I'm going to write on this label, and then I'm not going to know where to put this label. It takes me a minute to find somewhere to put it, but I get there. It says, my child is not your political pawn. Again, we're just going with all of the rage right now. I should say my children, but really one is under attack. All of my children are under attack. My whole children's future is under attack right now, but I've got one that is under particular attack right now, so I was really channeling my angst for her into this more than anything else. Trying not to cover up any of the headlines, so we're just gonna go vertically here and put it right there. And I think that works with the placement of the title as well. So then I decided that I want to get scribbly along the border rather than inky. I think that works with the style of the collection too. So I'm just going to add a border here. And then I'm going to scribble as well in some places. I'm adding some borders to the photos just to break this up a little bit. I felt like it was still like a big white glob. So I'm just adding some sketching and some doodling along the borders of the photos. And then I'm going to add a border along here too, even though you can't really see it too much. You can if you look close enough, but I'm going to add a border and then I'm going to add some scribbling all over the place. And then I'm going to call it good. So if you enjoyed this video, even though it's a little bit deep, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Traci and Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. The Tempest collection is available for free on my website. There is a link in the description box below. And I will see you next time. Thank you.